going to be talking some Doomsday plot leaks have come out the other day. I think it was yesterday, and it's not looking too good. A lot of this I had heard before through some channels I watch on YouTube. Shout out to Neurotic and Geeks and Gamers. I heard some of these things on those channels. But this is supposedly official plot synopsis. So switch over. Got it brought up over here from Twitter. And this is a courtesy of Yellow Flash's Twitter. And so let's get into this. I'll read into it. I'll read it and we'll talk about it as we go. So, there's the full plot description for Avengers Doomsday. And again, this is supposed to be official. So, Avengers Doomsday opens in New York City on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man's Earth. He's fighting Deadpool and Wolverine, who were sent there with a planet-killing bomb built by Beast to destroy Tobey's world in order to save their own universe from an incursion. Now, on the surface, this sounds like an interesting situation, but I've already read this. I know what happens going forward, and I do not like what they end up doing. So, Toby battles Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and who manages to plant the device. Wolverine stays behind when it detonates, assuming this is necessary to ensure that it detonates. Both he and Toby's Spider-Man, along with everyone else on that Earth, are killed. This is where the problem comes in for me, is you're immediately killing off two of the most beloved heroes in all of superhero movies. Like they're, maybe Iron Man. Other than that, maybe Reeves Superman, Bale's Batman. Those are probably the most popular superheroes ever. Two of them obviously are DC. They're not going to get killed off. So that leaves you with three Marvel heroes that are legitimate contenders for most popular superhero on film ever. You're killing off two of them immediately for essentially for shock value to try and establish that this movie has stakes. And it's a cheap and lazy way of doing that. It's 100% nostalgia bait to try and bring people in. If you remember these guys that you loved, yeah, they're in this movie too. But we're gonna kill them in the first 5 minutes. Like it's shitty. I don't like it. It's to establish that the movie has stakes, but realistically, no one else that's even remotely relevant is going to die throughout the rest of this movie. And I knew that before reading this. So let's go on. So everyone is killed. Deadpool escapes, returns to his own Earth, and we see in the distance. This definitely, as you like, if you read through it, it definitely feels like an AI wrote this. There's weird phrasing and stuff, and it just feels strange. But anyways, Charles watches the destroyed world below with sadness, but they had no choice. It's weird that being, but they had no choice. Like this is a plot synopsis. Like it's obviously like it's one of those things. Why would you put that in there unless you're like trying to create a story? That's what it makes it feel like it's AI. It's like that doesn't feel like it belongs in there. This is kind of just like a general plot that's getting given out amongst like the crew and like the people who are relevant to the movie that need to know what's going on. So like we don't really need to know that Charles was sad while it happened. We just need to know that part of the scene is him watching. Cut to Tony's funeral. Steve speaks with some heroes, including Ant-Man. Why that is also like including Ant-Man. He's not referenced again in the rest of the synopsis. So it's like, why is that singled out there? It's just strange. Before returning the stones, he goes back in time and chooses to stay with Peggy. We've seen this in Endgame. They have a son named Jim. One day Loki visits. One day Loki visits them. This is before the season 2 finale. This is another thing that doesn't make any damn sense. This is Loki from the end of the first Avengers movie. Yes, he's had some character development throughout the series. I watched both seasons. He has some character development, semi-equal, you can say, to what he goes through in the first 3 phases of the MCU. Obviously, it's not actually equal, but by this point, his character is supposed to be more or less mentally in the same place. It's it's not a great way of doing it, but that's essentially where he's supposed to be. But even having him be in that mind frame and that fucking mental space, him and Steve have no connection. They have no relationship. There's no reason for Loki to be like, "Oh, hey, look, Steve might have a problem if he stays there. Let me go and save him." The fuck would Loki care? Like, he doesn't. What the fuck does he care? And then in season two, if it says it's set before the season two finale. It doesn't say when in season two it's set. But at this point in season two, they've stopped pruning timelines. That's one of the big major story parts of season two of Loki. That they were stopping the pruning. So him, uh, Steve's timeline wouldn't be targeted for pruning by the TVA anymore. The TVA had stopped doing that. So they were working on fixing the loom so that the timelines could still be managed within the fucking plot from Loki season two was fucking all over the place. But they were trying to fix the loom. They had finished. They weren't doing any more pruning. So this makes no sense. It goes against their own lore, much less any comic book lore. It's fucking gone out the window. Fucking, I don't know, 10 years ago. Who fucking knows? It's been a long time since they've truly followed any comics, which was fine when they were making good movies. But now, like, you're not making good shit, and then you're not even following your own lore because this doesn't make any sense. Why would he go and help Steve? Go out of his way while he's in the middle of stopping all time from unraveling and destroying itself with the loom. Like, oh, let me take a break. Steve might have a problem in his timeline, except there is no problem. Uh, Anyways, so back to the story. So in this version, Loki goes back and saves Steve's family. He tells Steve about the TVA, warns him that they will soon prune his timeline because Steve was never meant to live there or have a son. And again, this counter to the entire plot of season two of Loki. Fine. So Loki then offers them a way out because he owes Steve a favor for reasons or something, or he has an emotional connection to Steve, or maybe he all of a sudden developed a fondness for children. It's not really clear. He just does things, apparently. It seems like one of those things where he's doing it because we need it to happen, because there is no motivation for them to do this. But, anyways, Loki offers them a way out. He can take them to a universe where they don't exist and can live in peace. The Fantastic Four's universe. Before leaving, Loki gives Steve a special card to contact him. And Steve and his family live in the it is Doctor Doom's universe, but in the Fantastic Four's universe for 10 years. So again, like, this doesn't make any sense. Now, having Doctor Strange show up, having Steven show up to do this would make sense. He knows about the incursions. He could say that him being there could cause an incursion. Maybe he believes that if he takes them to a planet that they don't exist on, that maybe it will stop an incursion from happening, and he just happens to be wrong. That would be a more acceptable storyline. There'd be reasons for it. Steven has reason to help. Steven has reason to help Steve. So, them being friends, them having fought together, them both being Avengers. Loki is not an Avenger. Like, he doesn't have any friendship with Steve. Again, he has no relationship with Steve. Why would he help? So, again, it's things are happening because the plot requires them to happen, not because there's any reason for them to happen. So back to the story. So, Steve and his family have been living there for 10 years. Jump to we then see Doctor Doom visiting Sue and Franklin, God baby Franklin. They clearly know each other. Doom says he has come to speak with Reed. That's a weird line to put in there. They clearly know each other. Sue, Reed, and Doom all went to college together, if I remember correctly. And at least maybe it was only Sue or excuse me, only fucking Doom and Reed in some versions, but at least in like the Ultimate version, I believe they all went to college together. Which a lot of the movies are more based on the Ultimate Universe, seems like. But anyways, he comes to speak with Reed, warns him about the incursions, reveals that their universe is next. It's not that there's not an order to it. They're just they just happen when someone from another universe comes across the fucking multiverse and takes up residence somewhere not supposed to be. It's not like there's we're next. Anyways, he proposes a plan, very retarded plan. but they must travel with him to Earth 616, not the designation of the movie universe. Earth 616 is the comic universe. The movie universe is Earth 19999, I think, something like that. So, but, you know, brilliant writers. And then Doom also asks Reed whether it's possible someone from another universe is living in theirs. They scan the planet and discover an anomaly. Steve and his family. Seems like something Doom should have been able to do on his own, but maybe this is, some form of showing that Reed is capable of doing things scientifically that Doom isn't. He's supposed to be smarter. Doom is much better with magic. Obviously, Reed doesn't do anything magical, whereas Doom is essentially, if I believe he has been Sorcerer Supreme, and I think it's in the newer comics, so these are kind of questionable, but it has happened. So obviously, Reed never has been. But I get maybe that's some nod to that, to Reed having some tech that Doom doesn't. But anyways, they confront Steve, who recognizes them after living there for a decade. They explain the incursions and ask him to come back to the mainline universe, but it's not 616, to help them convince the Avengers to trust in Doom's plan. They travel there, Steve persuades them, and everyone listens. Next, they visit the X-Men universe. Excuse me. Okay. Next, they visit the X-Men's universe, but the X-Men are hostile. They survived multiple incursions and trust no one. They assume the MCU heroes and Fantastic Four have come to destroy them, and they attack. Reed and Doom explain their solution to build massive cannons on each Earth that will permanently separate the universes and stop the incursions. They will split into teams, and each one will go to another place to place a cannon there. This is stupid as fuck. It doesn't make any giant cannons. What the fuck are they going to fire at? It's like you can't fire at each other's Earths. The way the multiverse works, the Earths are already stacked on top of each other, but they're vibrating at different frequencies that allows them to be out of phase with one another, so they can be stacked on top of each other without interfering or interacting. The incursions come when those vibrations start to resonate with each other and they start to match up, and then the planets start to come together and collide, and then matter cannot fucking stack on top of matter, and so it causes massive destruction, essentially. Using the cannon, there's nothing to fire at. It's not like the Earths are actually separate and are smashing into each other. They're on top of each other already. It's just that they're aligning in such a way that will be incredibly destructive and cause a massive catastrophe should it finish. So the way to avoid this isn't to use a massive cannon and blow a hole in the multiverse. That would cause all kinds of other problems of who knows what kind. Though the way they should have done this is because you have two planets, or three planets, three universes that are beginning to vibrate at the same frequency. So what you need is something large enough and powerful enough to alter the frequencies of each planet, each universe. And you happen to have a mountain filled with an element that is excellent at manipulating frequencies and harmonies. Vibranium. And you get to bring the Wakandans in. They love the Wakandans. Everyone loves the Wakandans, that ethno state in Africa. That's okay that it doesn't have any multicultural aspects to it whatsoever, because it's not white. That place, they love them. So you take the vibranium and you build giant harmonic resonators, and you install them in different places around each universe's Earth. And as they resonate, they begin to separate the planets. But nobody at Marvel is intelligent enough to understand that. They believe that the Earths are actually separate and smashing into each other. And so the cannons will fire and essentially work like giant jetpacks and push the planets away from each other. It'll save everyone. Because they're fucking morons. But that's what this is the pretend plan. This isn't what actually going to happen. Spoilers, Doom's going to betray everyone. But yes, this is the plan, and everyone goes along with it because everyone, including Reed, who is supposed to be the smartest man, possibly in the multiverse, goes along with it because he's actually fucking retarded. Excuse me. So while they're talking about their cannons and stuff that are retarded as fuck, Steve tells Thor that he met Loki, who is still alive. Thor asks Steve to take him to him. Using Loki's card, they locate the TVA. But when they arrive, everyone is dead, and Loki has had his heart ripped out. They realize Doom is responsible. Now, I'm curious how exactly they're going to realize this, what exactly is going to happen. It's, just a simple throwaway line. They realize Doom is responsible. How? Why? Did he write fucking Doom is here in blood on the floor or something? Is Loki going to be somehow still alive while his heart's been ripped out? And he's going to tell them? It's weird that there seems to be a lot of detail in this, but that bit is just so they realize it was Doom. How? Why? So, I guess we'll figure that out when the movie comes out. But it just seems odd. And then Steve goes back to confront Doom. Not Steve and Thor, just Steve. Why? I don't know. It's, again, this fucking plot. It doesn't sound good. Because, like, there's no reason, like, why would Steve be back there without Thor would be right next to him fucking ready to fucking kill him. Like, even if it wasn't technically his Loki, like, I don't think he would see a difference. Anyways, Steve goes back to confront Doom, alone apparently, who reveals his true plan to allow the incursions to happen so he can rebuild the multiverse in his own image and resurrect his dead family. He takes Steve to his castle in Latveria on his Earth. There, Steve meets Doom's followers, masked witches. One of them impersonates Peggy and manipulates Steve. I'm not a super lore master when it comes to Marvel. I don't know everything about Doom. I don't recall him having a coven of masked witches as followers. I remember him having like the Doombots and like, a bunch of like third worlders around him in that area, but a coven of masked witches is not something I recall. But I said, I don't know everything about Doom. Maybe there was something I missed. One of them impersonates Peggy to manipulate Steve. Manipulate him into doing what? There's like what does that mean? One of them impersonates Peggy to manipulate him. Why? Is that just supposed to be some way of fucking with him? It's weird. And then Doom goes on to reveal that Steve's presence in their universe is what triggered their incursion because he didn't belong there. You already established that in the beginning of the movie when they first confronted Steve and told him about the incursions. That's why they went and talked to him. They wouldn't have like gone and talked to him for any other reason. So it's like either this is just happened to be redundant within this AI generated plot synopsis, or they're just going to say it again in case people forgot. I can see it going either way, honestly. But anyways, this also led to the death of Doom's family. Doom became obsessed with stopping the incursion, conducting dangerous experiments, one of which failed, killing his family and leaving him disfigured, forcing him to wear the armor and mask. That's not Steve's fault. That's your fault for getting obsessed and not keeping your family far enough away from your dangerous explosive experiment. Like that's not Steve's fault that you don't know how to fucking put a fucking safe perimeter around shit. Fucking dumbass. Anyways, so as revenge, Doom kills Steve's son in front of him. Now this is probably supposed to be some very dramatic moment. It's supposed to make us care and be like, oh my god, oh, you killed a kid. Yes, very sad. But we don't have any emotional connection to that kid. We're gonna see him a little bit in the beginning of the movie, and we're basically not gonna see him again until Doom goes to kill him. It's not like some kid that we've fucking seen throughout the movies. It's not like when they killed Phil in Avengers and the first Avengers movie. We had seen him in almost every movie. I think maybe every movie at that point. I can't remember if there was one he wasn't in. He might not have been in the first Cap movie. Can't remember. It's been a long time, but essentially, it's not like he's killing someone that we're familiar with, we have attachment to, that we're gonna miss. I don't fucking know this fucking kid, and we all know kids shouldn't fucking exist. It's like it's like a rule of time travel. You don't go back in time and fuck someone and have a kid that isn't supposed to exist. You're causing all kinds of fucking problems with time. Not to mention all the issues with Steve staying back in time and not involving himself in various wars and altercations and assassinations, etc., etc. And you're just creating more problems. But anyways, Doom kills Steve's son in front of him. Very sad. Doom announces that the Avengers are coming and that Varia prepares for war. The Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men unite and march on Latveria. Thor prays to Odin, who Thor wasn't with Steve for some reason, but he prays to Odin, who sends an army from Valhalla to join the battle. This seems unnecessary. You're going for the massive, huge fucking battle again, the big war, like at the end of Endgame, and you didn't need to do that. I think this would have been better if you'd have kept it a little bit smaller. Maybe it's just the Doom bots and the witches and Doom himself against the Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four. Maybe Doom is fighting the Fantastic Four by himself, and then the Avengers and the X-Men are handling the Doom bots and stuff like that. Going the whole massive war route, I feels unnecessary, but it might end up being cool. They do know how to do some cool fights when they put their mind to it. So that could be cool, but again, I think it would have been better had it been a little bit smaller, a little more. I guess it wouldn't be personal with that massive cast, but I mean, adding an entire army of faceless nobodies that you can just have get destroyed. Yeah, yeah, I don't like it. Anyway, massive war erupts as the Earths begin to collide. Eventually, the universes crash into each other and are destroyed, killing everyone except Doom. It's like this is also so like we're gonna see them fighting and fighting and like trying so hard to win, and it's all pointless. Like there's no point to it because at the end of it they're all gonna end up dead anyway. And so it's like it's shitty because you're gonna watch them and like they're probably gonna be getting the upper hand, getting to the point of winning, and then fucking everything's just gonna get fucking destroyed because nobody was paying attention to the actual problem. Everybody was trying to get back to Doom because reasons. And again, like once you realize that Doom isn't actually on your side, Reed, being the smartest guy in the universe, should be like, okay, hold on. If he's not actually helping us, what the fuck was his plan going to do? Was it going to do anything? Go back and analyze it, realize it probably wasn't going to do shit. Come up with a fucking solution to at least stall the incursion so that you can fix it. But everybody fucking, I don't know, they all get mad that Loki got killed and decide that they have to kill Doom or something. Like, them completely stopping like or excuse me completely like ignoring the incursions at that point and choosing that they just have to go and fight Doom is retarded. It's like Thor getting mad wanting to go kill him, fine. Steve getting mad and wanting to go take him out for manipulating him, fine. Everybody else doesn't have a reason to go fucking crazy and attack him. Everyone else should still be focused on fixing the incursion because like you're heroes. You're not supposed to be out fucking dealing with vendettas. You're supposed to be helping everyone. Taking out Doom doesn't help anybody. Like all it does is make Thor feel better because Loki. So like it's them having that big fight is retarded. So everyone dies except Doom. And then it's revealed that he stole Loki's powers. Using them, he creates Battle World, resurrects everyone, and erases their memories. Loki doesn't have this power. Loki can manipulate time at the end of season 2, but we've already established that this is before the end of season 2, so he hasn't mastered that power yet. And it may not, depending on what point in season 2 is, it may not have even manifested properly. So how would Doom even know that he has the power, much less the ability to use it? And then again, manipulating, being able to move back and forth through time, pause time, whatever, that isn't the same as creating an entire universe. These are the powers that like Franklin Richards has. Franklin can do this, not Loki. So it doesn't make any sense that he's able to create Battle World using Loki's powers, resurrect people and like erasing their memories. Maybe I could see Loki being able to do that. Creating an entire universe and resurrection, not powers Loki has. You know, they believe Battle World is all that has ever existed. We see them living new lives in the false reality. Doom sits on his throne as the Emperor of Battle World. It's like that last line can work if you get there in a decent way and you earn it. this sounds like shit. It's like there's so many problems in this. There's so much just like things happening because the plot demands it. Big spectacle fight that makes no fucking sense. Everyone should still be focused on the incursions, especially the X-Men who have dealt with multiple incursions and are supposed to be battle hardened and resistant to outsiders. All of a sudden, they're like, "Oh, well, fuck those incursions. We got to go fight Doom in Latveria because Thor is sad and Steve's missing." The X-Men wouldn't give a fuck. They would be back at their universe and fucking making bombs to destroy the fucking MCU universe and the Fantastic Four universe. That's what the fuck they would be doing. They wouldn't be going to fucking riot on Doom because that's not what fucking happened. They had no reason to. And even the Avengers having a reason to, there's enough of them that they would send a couple to try and get Steve out of Latveria. The rest of them would be focused on fixing the incursions. Fantastic Four, he hasn't, like, him being a dick to Steve and Thor doesn't translate to them having an issue. Like, okay, that's ooh, that sucks. Ooh, his dick. We have more important problems, so it doesn't make sense. It's not looking good. Not looking good at all. So I've been pretty apathetic about the MCU for a few years now. I had watched everything basically up until I think it was Black Captain America. And basically, I haven't really watched anything since then. I didn't watch Thunderbolts. I didn't watch Ironheart. I haven't seen Fantastic Four. Literally, I just had no interest in them, any of them. And I had seen pretty much everything else up to that point. I think the last one was Deadpool Wolverine. Some of the shows since then. But I mean, they all fucking sucked. They did. It's like I tried to justify it early on, especially after Endgame. I was so hyped about everything, but it's like the more time passed, the more I look back on it, and it's like all that shit sucked. Like I was, watching with my brain turned off, and as soon as I turned it on and looked at it with even the slightest bit of a critical eye, it all falls apart. And so it's like, yeah, complete and utter apathy when it comes to the MCU. Like Spider Man's coming out, and I honestly don't even know if I'm gonna go see it. I really don't. I might wait for it to go on streaming. I'm not sure. And honestly, the same thing with Doomsday. It's like I never. If you asked me coming out of Endgame if there would ever be an Avengers movie that I would be considering sitting out on, I've told you fuck no. It would never happen. I'd be out of every Avengers movie going forward forever. And now I'm sitting here like I don't know if it's worth the ticket. So and then I read that plot leak and I'm like, if this is true, which supposedly by multiple inside sources and things, this is supposed to be the actual plot of the movie, it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good, and I'm just kind of like, I don't see any way that this movie can be, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? There's any way it can be good, any way it can be entertaining. Like, I feel like I'm just going to be sitting there watching it, like, this shit is stupid. Like, things are happening for no reason, things aren't making sense. I'm going to be sitting there watching it with, like, you know, looking for problems. Whereas once upon a time, I would sit and I would watch a Marvel movie and, I could turn my brain off because the experience was good enough to keep me fucking occupied. Now I sit there and I'm just like, this is trash. Like the last 5 years, 6 years, whenever the hell Endgame came out, it's all been just fucking trash. And yeah, they've lost my money for the most part. It's like these are the two biggest. Spider-Man and Avengers are they're the two. They're the big ones. I don't give a shit about either of them. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens when the movie comes out. Maybe this is, not true. Maybe they have a different story in mind. But from what I've been hearing prior to this and everything I've heard after, this definitely seems to be the actual plot that is going to happen in that movie, and I do not like it at all.